connecting to the. Well, good morning, good evening, Rachel. It's so lovely to see you this morning, and I'm so excited to have you on the ARC Education as a subscriber, but also just to be chatting with you about your Neuroheart Foundation, which is definitely a project or a venture that is very resonant with me as a teacher, as a person, actually not even as a person, as a being. and
Yes.
and I'm really, really grateful that I reached out to you, or that you reached out to me, actually,
I
and
do.
connected. So for those who are watching this recording, Rachel Paling is the director, the CEO, I guess. What are you, the leader of the Neuroheart Foundation, which is a training facility. It's also a promotional website for the Neuroheart modality. It's quite difficult to hear, which is all about, as I understand it, and correct me please, Rachel, it's all about brain-heart cohesion and teaching children and adults to become more human.
Ali, thank you. Yes, I'm delighted. And yes, I was recommended to reach out to you, and that reaching out has led to this beautiful sort of cooperation, collaboration. And I'm based in Spain, so yes, it's evening for me and for you. So we're holding the earth between us.
We
And
are.
yes, yeah, I think we can sort of say it's that sort of vision of how can we bring both the brain and the heart and that coherence of being human and being able to communicate with each other and really bringing in that compassion, empathy. It's about bringing coaching. It's about focusing on well-being. It's the whole holistic human. And how can we bring that into the educational arena?
Absolutely. I don't know if I probably have talked to you about this, but my whole mantra around education is that we actually only need three things, and we only need to be teaching three things, because we're in an age where information is freely flowing. So when we're trying to educate our young people, it's really important that we teach them to be human beings, rather than teaching them to know stuff. Teach them to be rather than to know or to do. Because that's what we forget when we're younger. When we're babies and when we're really young, we're there, we're experiencing everything in the moment. We're limitless, actually. Our imaginations and everything are working really well for us. And then through experiences, unfortunately, some people have the worst, horriblest experiences as young children. But we all actually go through childhood getting damaged in some way or another, whether we are realizing it or not. And then we forget who we really are. And by the time you get to school, in this present system, it's further reinforced. Instead of actually waking kids up to their innate power and abilities, doesn't matter how they function in this world, whether they're normal, and I put normal in, or disabled, it doesn't matter. We each have a fundamental truth about us, and that is systematically broken down, or we're systematically disconnected from that as we go through education. So for me, the three most important things that any education system needs is, number one, connection, because that's actually why we're here. We're here to connect. Connect with ourselves, first of all. Remember who we really are. Connect with each other, obviously. Connect with the earth, because she's our mother, and to connect with whatever higher being you subscribe to, whether it's God, whether it's Allah, whether it's just humanity, or whatever it is. Even atheists connect with something that is beyond themselves. So connection is the first thing. Communication, where this is where the joy of the Neuroheart Foundation comes in for me. Communication is the most important aspect of our humanity, because that's what creates connection and maintains connection. The way we communicate, not only with each other, but the way we communicate with the earth, the way we communicate with our higher power and ourselves. And that's what the Neuroheart Foundation is so amazing. That it's such an amazing aspect or skill and training to develop that. And the last of all is, well, last but not least, is creativity, because we all create our reality, whether we're conscious of it or not. But can you imagine if we have a generation, just one to start off with, one generation of young people who can create consciously? We'd solve all the problems of the earth, wouldn't we? If we had a generation of conscious creators. So those are the three things that basically should be what we call here in New Zealand the kaupapa, or the founding philosophy, or the modus operandi of any education system. So the Neuroheart Foundation and the is epitomizes those three things, and that's why I was so excited when you did reach out, because this this could change the world. It could change the way education is yeah.
And I think one of the maybe the directions to take this is that firstly we're looking at the holistic way of how we deliver. And I think teachers, unfortunately, and in some cases fortunately, we followed a paradigm of 200 years, 300 years of teaching, which doesn't serve us anymore, because we've moved on. We're in evolution. We're rapidly in evolution. So the way that we teach is not, as you said, connecting. It's not communicating, and it's not creating. So as teachers and educators, it's how do we transform ourselves to be able to reach and connect with Absolutely. The neurodiversity of each and every person on earth, because we are all neurodiverse.
Oh, absolutely.
All of us.
Yeah.
So now we're moving in an era where firstly, the teacher has to now understand, how does the teacher adapt to the learner or learners instead of the learner adapting to the teacher?
Absolutely. Or the system. At, at the moment, the system is what directs education. It's not
It
the
is,
child.
but there are many teachers who are intuitively changing. And this is the beautiful
Yes.
thing, that the teachers themselves are not resonating with the systems, so they are intuitively doing it differently. But the problem is they don't know what they're doing, they don't know how they're doing it, it's almost like they're doing it in that sort of fog.
Yes. And that's why it's so stressful too, I
Of
think,
course, of
because
course.
I've found that throughout my 30-year career. And I've actually just gone back into I'm doing part-time work at the moment with high needs students though. Um, when you're fighting the system, because it does feel like you're fighting the system the whole time when you're intuitively working differently. It's exhausting, and I think that's why the profession has just fallen on its face, really. Um, Teachers all over the world stressed
Yeah,
out.
I'm going to add to that. I think teachers have had the burden of um, having to know the answer to everything.
Yes, or be
And
everything to everyone.
right. So now what we're saying is that when you come in from a coaching approach, when you take on that coaching skill,
Mm.
you turn it around because you really know that you don't have the answers and you don't want the answers. You want them to find their answers. And
Mm.
when you turn it around like that, the release of that burden
Yeah.
just disappears. But you also become such a support for the learner. You
Mm.
start to become the coach for that kid.
Yes, yes. Where
And
they
you start
discover
to
themselves.
empower.
Yeah, they're discovering themselves rather than you telling them what they have to be.
Absolutely. You're empowering them to discover that as well.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's the major sort of focus, that we are retraining teachers how to deliver when we're not, they are the experts in their topic. They know whether they're, mathematics, physics, chemistry, they are the experts in that. What we are doing is bringing in the coaching approach. We're bringing in how to bring in the metacognition for kids,
Mm-hmm.
how to live and embody the neuroscience that the scientists keep throwing at us, how
Mm-hmm.
to embody that emotional intelligence that they keep telling us that we should have. So it's about living that and then knowing how to deliver the topic that we're delivering.
It's it's absolutely essential, I find, I think, and it should that word should, and in this case, I'm going to use the word should. It should be part of all teacher training.
There's certain aspects of this which I would agree with you, especially the aspect of understanding the impact of social emotional pain on the brain.
Mm-hmm.
Every teacher on earth should know that research,
Yes.
because it makes you so aware that you do not want to cause that social emotional pain with learners, or you do not want that. And sometimes without realizing it, we might be doing it. We might be provoking that sort of triggering of the social and emotional pain, which lead to bad learning memories, which could be lifelong bad learning memories, which are then becoming self-fulfilling prophecies of I'm never going to do it, and I never will do it, and I never have done it. And
Exactly, and that's why our prisons are full of these people that actually have just never been able to connect with themselves, or um have never discovered their true being, their innate power.
yeah, I think it's indicative of the societies and the systems and the governments and the way that life has gone. And a lot of people maybe have taken wrong decisions because they haven't had that support and guidance or even role models. And this is where teachers, it's not about them teaching anymore. It's about being the role model.
The facilitator.
Facilitator, but also living it. I can't be a facilitator and be kind of giving information when I'm not living myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you.
So teachers need to walk the talk.
But they need to, there's a lot of teachers who have every good intention. That not many teachers stay in the profession because they like the money, because let's face it, you ain't going to get rich being a teacher. But yeah, there's often really good intention, but not a lot of awareness, I think, around the more, and for lack of a better word, the more spiritual side of teaching, of being a teacher, the spiritual responsibility, the I guess the energetics around teaching, you know, because it's an incredibly responsible job that teachers have. And I think it's been undermined and diminished systematically, so that teachers don't understand, or typically don't value themselves, because they've been systematically broken down, you know, like teachers are terrible, they're lazy, they have all these holidays. That's a narrative often that is propagated systemically, and which hasn't always been like that, but I think it is definitely now, where teachers are feeling really traumatized themselves, to be honest, Rachel. So, you know, you've got traumatized teachers teaching traumatized children. It's
Yeah.
a recipe for disaster. So yeah, you're absolutely right. As teachers, we all need to be looking at ourselves and working on ourselves before we work on anything else.
Yeah, and and in the favor of teachers, I think that they've done a magnificent job with the circumstances that they've had to deal with.
I
And I think
personally,
this intuitive shift that I'm going to say worldwide, I'm observing it. This intuitive shift is phenomenal. So I do think teachers are connecting with themselves because they're seeing that's not working. I need to do something else. And they are. And I think that's
fantastic.
something that we need to really applaud and say, wow, you're doing it. How can we help you? How can we help you now bring in that awareness, bring in that metacognition, because we know how we can help you to do that.
Yes, wonderful.
That's the first pillar of the foundation is about enhancing teaching. Now, the second pillar is actually about teacher well-being. And the third pillar is about student well-being. And those are sort of addressing what you've just said about this, how do we now get teachers to look after themselves?
Yes. Well,
and how do we help students as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To embody what they're going to pass on to our
That's
students.
right. That's right. But even the teachers themselves discovering that sort of well-being, how can they incorporate that into the classroom as well? So then you have this interplay of maybe some mindfulness, or maybe some techniques, or maybe some understanding of, talking about what's happening in the brain, if there's panic attacks or if there's anxiety, and how do we, as a collective, calm down and bring in that coherence, and how do we collectively help each other?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's really interesting because I've always done things differently in my career, and whether it's been appreciated or not is another thing. But I have intuitively and naturally always brought in those aspects of that you're talking about, and it has literally transformed classrooms,
Yeah.
literally transformed them. I taught in here in New Zealand, in a central North Island town. Well, it's a city here, but it would be a small town most places because New Zealand isn't very big, but called Rotorua, and it is and in gangland Rotorua, so it very, very low socioeconomic um, area, and I had the lowest 5% of the intake that came into this intermediate school, which is year 7, 8, so like ranging from 10 to 13, the ages. And I had the classroom that nobody wanted to teach, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it because these were the kids that people had put on the too difficult pile, and so I could do whatever I liked as long as I kept them out of people's hair and kept them on the straight and narrow, so to speak. So my program looked so completely different to anybody else's. We spent more time out of the classroom than we did in it. And we did a lot of mindfulness. We did gardening. We did nature walks. We just, for me, it was about connecting these kids to themselves. And, um, you know, by the end of 2 years, if these children progressed, what would happen is they would put them into the rest of the school. They would put them back into the mainstream, so to speak, and invariably they would misbehave so that they could come back. They could come back to our environment, but which is a bit of an indictment, isn't it? That they found a home in where we were, but couldn't find that place elsewhere or within the mainstream. But that mindfulness program, that focus on who they are and how they relate to each other and how they relate to the world, just transformed lives. It literally transformed lives. And it made me think, why can't we all, why can't we all operate in this way? But systemically, it's really difficult because you have all these pressures placed on you around assessment, and it's all about the system rather than the child. So I think if we can learn to just do it, just do it, despite whatever else is going on, and it works, eventually, systemically, it can't be ignored. Yeah. So this work is really, really important. Very important.
Yes.
So how
Absolutely.
does the Neuroheart Foundation function, Rachel? Let's get to the nitty-gritty of things.
So we do have and I'm just going to share in the background here. We do have an informative document which brings out the portfolio of all of our courses. We offer courses which are delivered by us, but we also offer courses which are delivered by third parties like positive psychology, neuroscience in the classroom. We have some amazing courses related to well-being. And for the kids as well, we're looking to develop these. We've got things like motivational talks and how to be an entrepreneur for the sort of young adults, things like that. And we're going to be adding things here to really be supporting how to teach, but also how to focus on the well-being of all involved.
Mm.
So people can request this document from us, and we will send that information. We do have a course coming up in June, which is for teachers all across the world to become Neuroheart educational coaches.
Oh, wow.
And it is accredited by the International Coach Federation as well. So that's going to be an open course for teachers from all over the world, even parents, parents
That's
who are
what I was
homeschooling.
about to say. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely,
There'd
absolutely.
be quite a few homeschooling parents who'll be looking at this going, oh, how can I benefit from this? Because it is an environment that lends itself to this
Yeah.
this whole kaupapa, as they say here. So yeah, so it will be open to everyone.
That's right. That's right. So we can send the schedule, we can send sort of all the details. And yes, information, we're focusing in also on the individual schools. If there are schools who are interested to have that information, we would come in and see how we can help, how we can train the teachers en masse.
Mm-hmm.
It is about tailoring what the schools need. We are actually at the moment we're dialoguing with one particular school who is interested in actually putting some of our courses in their curriculum for teachers, so the teacher training and bringing it into their curricula. So yes, absolutely. We're open to really sitting and talking with the schools to find out what they need.
Sometimes schools don't know what they need because you don't know what you don't know, right? So do you have like an introduction, or where can people go to find out what Neurolink is? Oh, sorry, not Neurolink. The Neuroheart Foundation is all about, and how it changes the whole, because it would change the whole culture of a school, wouldn't it?
Oh yes, I mean, the whole way of communicating, the whole way of sort of connecting with each other on whether it's a teaching level or even just on a working level together. The website is up and running, www.neurohearteducationfoundation.com. And definitely they can send us a request for information from the website, or even just send us an email, info@neurohearteducationfoundation.com.
Right. And all the courses are digital, so they don't have to be in Spain to be able to do this, or
They don't have to be in Spain, but I have one very, very key, I'm going to say, desire. With all of the courses that we deliver, they are all live.
brilliant.
Because for me, it's the desire to connect with humans, and there is no asynchronous courses, there's no online courses. It is absolutely live training. And we get the teachers training and doing it.
Yes.
There is so much learning by doing, and coaching and bringing professional coaching into the classroom. You have to do it and do it and do it. So we
back
have
and discuss
this.
Yeah,
That's right.
Coming back and discussing it, isn't it? That's probably learning.
No, it's not even about discussing it. It's about doing it and being it.
Being it. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. It's how do you embody that coach persona? Absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic. So how long is the course, Rachel?
Well, they vary. The one to become a Neuroheart educational coach is actually 36 hours long.
Okay.
And we span it in sessions of 3 hours and 3 hours and 3 hours. And we normally span it over 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's sort of that time to embody, to practice, to do, etc. Yeah.
Definitely. And so there's a whole various levels of course courses are there, or when somebody does the course, do they do all three pillars, or
No, no. Absolutely, these are individual courses.
okay,
So
okay,
in the first part, they can decide what type of course they want to do. If they want to do the Neuroheart Educational Coaching, if they want to do positive psychology, neuroscience in the classroom. We have this one called Superstar System. Jo Bivens is brilliant. She works with little kiddies
I
and
want.
really helping them to manage their emotions in the classroom
Mm.
and in daily life. So, I mean, she's absolutely brilliant and really bringing emotional intelligence to help children,
Um,
and bringing the knowledge to the teachers as well.
I was just thinking, Rachel, how would this, and this isn't an ignorant question, because I can see how it could be implemented in this aspect, but I'm working with high needs, I guess what most people would call disabled children at the moment. It's my love and my heart. I love working with these amazing beings, because they're certainly not disabled in my opinion. And when you can work heart to heart, it's amazing what you can accomplish with them and with anyone, really. So how I'm in a specialist school here. How would you see this training working for teachers who are in the special needs environment?
Um, I personally, I think those of you who work with these children, you're already trained and you're intuitively adapting.
Mm,
So I think, for example, the Neuroheart Educational Coaching course might give more guidance on exactly what you're doing from the brain perspective.
mm,
So it might help to connect into the reasons for doing this, and even how to enhance even further what you're doing, and how to come into those coaching conversations where you're troubleshooting or you're brainstorming or you're getting them to really discover themselves.
mm, mm,
It's how to conduct those conversations, which is key.
absolutely.
Um, Other parts of the course, well, there's Bolo, who actually helps dyslexic learners. That's also another key course. As I
Mhm.
say, the one with the emotional intelligence, Joe's courses are brilliant, and that would even give teachers sort of quick knowledge about tapping, emotional freedom tapping, just quick techniques to help calm children down in those moments.
Mm, mm.
And when you're working with special needs kids, you need to have this toolkit as teachers to
You
help you not have the burden of what do I do now?
Yes, absolutely. They're kicking off. How am I going to
Right.
first of all
That's
avoid the kickoff?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's about tapping into them before they get to the point of loss of control. Um,
yes,
and funny enough, I do use a lot of tapping and energy work with kids. In the classroom, or especially these kids, because they respond to it so amazingly.
yeah,
You know, you could think that you're the greatest Reiki practitioner in the world with these with these kids, because they're so open to it, because there's no or there's not much I guess mental blockage around it. Like if you're tapping them, all they are is in the experience, rather than thinking like, what the heck is she doing? It's like, oh, I just they just respond naturally, rather than with any kind of intellectual um blockage, or intellectual barrier. So
yeah.
it
Yeah.
sounds like it would actually be an ideal component for specialist teachers to be learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, the heart math courses as well, you know, we have some of the heart math trainers. I mean, they're just brilliant courses to promote that sort of brain heart coherence in the environment and how to do that. You know, it's those techniques of how to really do that.
Mm.
Yeah, and then apart from all of that, we also have the coaching and mentoring for teachers, where it comes into that sort of individual coaching and mentoring for supporting teachers to maybe, if they've got certain questions with learners or whatever, that they have some closed spaces where they can communicate.
Well, so by the sounds of it, covers so much that it probably would be behooves schools or teachers or individuals to actually contact you as a foundation to find out exactly what is available, because do you, like you said, you work with individual schools as such, would you then I'm guessing you'd adapt the training to their needs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we also have various teacher trainers across the world.
Yes.
And some of these courses that we can actually deliver in 12 different languages.
Wow. Is there
So,
any in New Zealand? Are there any?
no, obviously the New Zealand, the Australians, the Americans would come with the English native trainers. But then the other languages are the ones like Greece, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, China, Arabic countries,
Yeah.
Russia, Ukraine, etc., Poland. So we have 12 different languages to reach the school teachers in those countries as well.
In those countries as well. So
Absolutely.
what I'm hearing is if there's anybody who's watching this recording and you're in New Zealand or Australia and you'd like to become a Neuroheart teacher trainer,
Yes.
to make
Yes.
contact with Rachel,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it,
Delighted
it
if they would.
would be it would be amazing if there was a few trainers in every country in the world, wouldn't it?
Oh
Because it
goodness,
would become,
yes, 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 yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would take the burden off the foundation as such to run all these courses, because you'd have somebody else who could actually do it live or and I think that this is an essential part of the future of education. So if you're resonating with this and you'd like to become a teacher trainer, how would they just contact you? Is it's a completely different course, or is
It
it?
is, it is. They have to go through the teacher training through me. So all the trainers that we have gone through extensive training to come to this point of being able to deliver the course. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So it's an enormous undertaking, really, that you have taken up, Rachel, because it's not just a couple of courses, it's a whole university, really,
Yeah.
that you're balancing.
Maybe. Yes. I never kind of see it as a big undertaking. I think I think the world is in such a turning point at the moment. And I think there's so many people doing some brilliant things out there. And I think each and every one of us, we're just bringing in our little grain of sand to say, hey, well, there's this as well, and there's this as well, and how can we help you here, and how can we help there? And so I never see it as an undertaking. I always see it as that sort of, what can we do
Yes,
to
yes,
help the situation at the moment in the
yes,
world?
for sure.
And we know that so much starts with education. We know that. And as you said, if we can get one generation where they're creating for themselves, where they're free thinking, where their spirits are empowered. What an amazing world we could create.
Oh, absolutely. And
Or they could create, because
they
we'll probably, you and I will probably be somewhere, goodness, who knows.
oh well, if we could get this going in one generation, we'd still be around to see it, I reckon.
Oh yes, oh yes, from the
And
beach.
yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
World transformation, but and we might laugh or giggle at that, but that's actually what this is all about, isn't it?
it is,
It's
it is, it is. You know, we're kind of we have the vision of that better world. So yes, that's really what we're all trying to walk towards.
exactly, and that's what the arc is all about as well, is bringing in a systemic change that will create that world as well. It's been it's it's an absolutely fascinating subject, Rachel, and I'm so grateful that we've made this connection, and I'd love to have you on again, perhaps talking about, because today we've talked in general about the Neuroheart Foundation, but um, it would be lovely to dive deep into some of the aspects of the neurolanguage
Yep.
world,
Yes,
um,
with
and
pleasure.
and do maybe some webinars that we could get teachers, that people could come on and listen to and find out a little bit more about what you're what you're propagating, so to speak,
With pleasure.
because for some people this might be the first time that they've really come across the the heart of this, if that makes sense. Most people, I think you'd have to be living under a rock to not have come across the whole social emotional
Mm,
wave that's passing through education at the moment. But
mm.
knowing exactly what to do and how to do it
That's
is the name of the game, isn't it?
that really is the point. It is. Yeah, it really is. The understanding how to implement it is the sticking point.
Yeah, or and how to be it, in
That's
your
right.
living,
That's
because
right.
like you said right at the beginning, if you're not embodying it,
That's right. That's
it's
right.
not going to work for
Yeah.
anyone.
Yep.
You can't
Absolutely.
just do it, you have to be it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for
You too.
this interview, and I really look forward to having you back on again and looking and really delving into some of the other aspects or some of the aspects of neurolanguage, and it's a fascinating and absolutely essential subject. So thank you, Rachel.
Thank
Um,
you, Ellie.
just before we go, if you are wanting to contact Rachel, you can do that via the Arc Education, which is www.thearceducation.co.nz, and just go to the educators directory and click onto these. I think you're in several aspects of it. So in learning support, in health and well-being, and in professional development. So there's plenty of avenues that you can that you can find the Neuroheart Foundation. And if you're wanting to contact Rachel, you can do that through there. Or Rachel, how else could people contact you? directly if they need to?
Social media. So I'm on LinkedIn, Rachel Marie Paling, Instagram, Rachel Paling. Also, you mentioned neurolanguage coaching. People can Google neurolanguage coaching.
Mhm.
Also my email, rachel@efficientlanguagecoaching.com.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
You
much.
too. Thank you, Kelly. Bye, everyone.
Bye.